Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Finally, someone who's been to a Diddy party and not afraid to say they've been to a Diddy party. Amber Rose. Yeah, fam. Amber Rose said she's been to many Diddy parties. She says she started going in 2009 and she's probably been to every single Diddy party since. So, what can she tell us about the Diddy parties? Well, Amber Rose said these freak-offs that everybody is talking about must have happened at a different date, different time, somewhere, different state, different country, somewhere, but they did not happen when she was around. She said she's been to the party, the after party, the after party. She's always been invited, but she's never been invited to the freak-off. I'm starting to get a clear picture of this entire freak-off thing. It sounds like these freak-offs were very intimate. It wasn't wide open like we thought. You know, we thought everybody was freaking. Everybody in Hollywood was just down with this. No, this sounds like Diddy, Cassie, and whatever paid escort. Probably a friend or two or something like that, whatever. But don't sound like all of Hollywood was down with this, because Amber said she went to Ray J, who is a very good friend of hers, and asked Ray J, has he been to a freak-off? And he said, no, I ain't never been invited to the freak-off. And you know, we've seen Ray J at a number of Diddy parties. No freak-offs. So how is the government going to make their case with these freak-offs and all of these celebrities if the celebrities have not been involved in the freak-offs and doing something criminal? Because right now, I still have not heard anything that could substantiate a RICO charge. Heard a lot about domestic violence. Heard a lot about Diddy's penchant for violence, but nothing about the type of violence that could help make the case for a RICO charge and conviction. I mean, give me a thumbs up if you heard something, fam. If you think they got something, give me a thumbs up. Thumbs down and say, no, man, I ain't heard nothing either, Will. I mean, Amber Rose, you know, Amber Rose did the slut walk. So it seemed like, y'all know what I'm saying, fam. But she talked about going to all of these parties and never once seeing anything inappropriate. Now, the government said that initially they were talking about sex with minors, and they were talking about, guns being used for crimes. They even talked about Diddy blowing up Kid Cudi's car, but no evidence. In regards to minors, they don't have one minor on the docket. Not one minor who is an alleged victim in this trial. So I'm still wondering, how are they going to make the case when even the escorts have said they ain't seen nothing inappropriate? The escorts are saying, look, man, let me back up. They said they haven't seen anything criminal. Seen some, stuff happening or whatever, but they haven't seen anything criminal. So how are they going to make the case? Who are they going to bring in to make the case? Unless they got some type of surprise witness, because Cassie was supposed to be the star witness, and it don't seem like to me she helped the prosecution too much. It's almost like Cassie was very neutral because at times she humanized Diddy with those text messages and how she felt about when he would write her and be tender with her. He would be tender and loving and concerned about her. That did more to humanize Diddy than to demonize Diddy. So, and then there were times when, she talked about him swinging on her and how she felt forced to do these freak-offs, but that didn't make a lot of sense when she said she didn't like to do the freak-offs, at least not that frequently, which implies that she liked the freak-offs, she just didn't like doing them as much as Diddy liked doing them. So that's not force or coercion. It sounds like to me, Cassie made a calculated, rational decision to accept whatever abuse that Diddy levied against her in exchange for gifts, in exchange for the lifestyle, in exchange for her car, in exchange for Diddy paying for her apartment, in exchange for the access that she had at any given time. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like a grown woman made a conscious, calculated, rational decision to accept some abuse, accept some misuse for some things. But it also sounds like Cassie was abusive also. Because if Diddy was abusive in regards to the freak-offs, Cassie was too, because by her own admission, she did hundreds of freak-offs. She set them up. She paid the clients. She offered the contraceptives. She gave them instructions, according to her, per Diddy. But she gave them instructions. They followed her instructions. Remember, Diddy was the surprise. He didn't come out. Y'all go on in there and do what y'all do. Let me get my little peep on. I'm going to be looking. I'm going to be watching. And, y'all go and do y'all thing. And Cassie could have took off running. But nigga just took off running right then and there and never turned around. But she did her thing with the escort. Seemed like that was the pattern. And then she would go into another room, and her and Diddy would get down while the escort waits for his next instructions. And she'd come out, ask him, hey, you want to continue? If he continue, she'd get down with him, then give him his money. Or if he said he didn't want to continue, she'd pay him his balance, and then he'd go on about his business. What I found a trip was how often the escorts would say that they were busy. They were tied up. They couldn't make the freak off. They were too busy to do a freak off. Yeah, fam. So Amber Rose went to a whole bunch of Diddy parties. She said she went to all the white parties since 2009. She's probably been to every single Diddy party because she always gets invited. And she haven't seen anything inappropriate. Not one time did she see Diddy messing with any underage kids, anybody else messing with any underage kids, anybody being forced. She ain't seen nobody with a gun to their head, like, she ain't seen nobody marching people into separate areas of the house with masks on and stuff. She ain't seen none of that. So I'm now wondering, do the government have anything besides just friends and associates who Diddy crossed or who feel like they've been crossed by Diddy? I don't know, fam. What say you? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.